All right, so we're diving into blogger interviews today.
Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's a really cool field, and it kind of combines a lot of things like creativity and connecting with people online,
It really does.
and of course writing, which is kind of the core of it.
It is the core.
And it's constantly evolving.
Constantly.
So staying ahead of the curve is key.
Absolutely.
So we've got all these resources from RoleCatcher, right? We have career guides, we have interview guides, we've got like the whole shebang.
All the works.
Yeah, it's really great.
So we're going to help you nail these interview questions.
That's the goal.
And really understand like what a successful blogging career looks like.
Right, and it can look like so many different things.
Exactly.
Which is what makes it so interesting.
Okay. So first of all, like what even is a blogger?
Right.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's more than just writing online. I think when a lot of people think of blogging, they think of just, writing online.
But, RoleCatcher's definition really highlights the blend of like factual information, but also personal perspective.
Interesting.
And then the ability to like spark discussions and build community.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And the sources that we're looking at, they even list alternative titles for bloggers.
Oh, like what?
Like vlogger or critic. So you can kind of see where this path could lead.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a broad field.
It is broad.
Okay. So let's get into some interview questions.
Yeah, let's tackle these.
Because I think this is where it gets really interesting.
That's great.
So we're going to dive into some actual interview questions that RoleCatcher has in their database.
Awesome.
And they're categorized by seniority level.
Great.
So we have entry level, mid level, senior level.
Love it.
So let's start with the entry level.
Okay.
Okay, so one question that seems really simple, but can actually be kind of tricky, is what inspired you to become a blogger?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, it seems simple, but it's about showing genuine passion.
Right.
So it's not enough to just say like, oh, I like writing.
Right.
You need to go deeper.
Like what specifically drew you to this path?
Exactly.
Okay, so how do you make your answers stand out?
So think about the spark. What really like ignited your interest?
Okay.
Was it a particular blog that you stumbled upon or, a topic that you're just deeply passionate about or a desire to connect with others who share your interests? So really think about the why.
Yeah, don't just be like, I like food. Be like,
exactly.
This is the food blog that I saw.
Exactly. Paint a picture for them.
Yeah.
Bring them into your world.
And this is where I think those follow-up questions can come in.
Yes.
Be
prepared.
They might ask like, what are some of your favorite blogs?
Absolutely.
What are the challenges facing bloggers today? What do you think makes a blog successful?
All great questions.
So be ready.
Be ready.
This is where RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful.
Yes.
Because it analyzes, specific job descriptions, and then it suggests the most relevant follow-up questions to focus on.
So you can really anticipate those curveball questions
Right.
and have like a thoughtful response ready.
It's like a secret weapon.
It is.
Okay, so we talked about the inspiration question.
Yep.
What about like, what are your favorite blogs to read and why?
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
Because this is your chance to really show off your knowledge of the blogging landscape and that you're actively engaging with content in your niche.
Right. Don't just rattle off a list of like popular blogs.
Exactly.
Choose ones that resonate with you.
Yes, and be ready to articulate why you admire them.
Like maybe you love their writing style or their unique perspective.
Absolutely.
Or the community that they built. Whatever it is,
Be specific and be enthusiastic.
Yeah, and mention blogs that align with the type of content that you want to create.
Absolutely.
Because then it shows the interviewer, like you're already thinking strategically.
Yeah, you've done your research.
About your own path.
Exactly.
And RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you analyze like the company's blog.
Yes.
And then you can find similar blogs to mention.
I love that.
So that shows that you've done your research.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about mid-level blogger interviews.
All right.
The questions here get a little bit more strategic.
That makes sense.
And they dive deeper into your skills and experience.
Yeah.
So one that often comes up is, how do you come up with new content ideas?
That's a good one.
Right.
And this isn't just about being creative. It's about showing that you can approach content creation strategically.
Right. So don't just be like, oh, inspiration strikes me randomly.
Exactly.
Talk about like your process for research.
Yes.
For understanding your audience. Maybe for, using tools to stay organized.
Absolutely.
Like if you use a content calendar.
Yes.
Or if you have a specific brainstorming technique that you like.
mention it.
Mention it.
It shows you're proactive and organized.
Yes.
Which is what they're looking for.
Okay. Another mid-level question that I think is super important, especially in today's world, is how do you ensure the accuracy of your information?
Right?
Because fact-checking is so important.
It is paramount.
And it's not enough to just say, oh, I do my research.
Right.
You need to be specific.
Absolutely.
About the resources that you use, about the steps you take to verify information.
Yes.
And maybe even an example.
I love that.
Of a time where you caught an error before publishing.
Absolutely.
Because it shows that you're committed to credibility.
Yes.
And that you have like a meticulous approach to your work.
It shows attention to detail, which is so important.
And don't be surprised if they follow up with questions about, specific fact-checking challenges.
Yeah, or resources you rely on.
Exactly.
Be ready to go deep.
And RoleCatcher's AI, it can actually help you refine your answers.
It can.
For this type of question. It can analyze your responses and suggest ways to make them more specific.
Yes.
More impactful.
I love that.
Make sure you're hitting all the key points. Okay, so we talked about creating content, making sure it's accurate.
Yes.
Let's talk about building and engaging a community.
Okay. Love it.
Because I think that's such a big part of blogging.
Huge.
So a common mid-level question is, how do you engage with your audience and build a community around your blog?
Okay.
And so here you're showing that you understand that blogging is not just about broadcasting content.
Right.
It's about fostering connections.
Absolutely.
Creating a space for dialogue. So talk about your social media strategy.
Yes.
How you respond to comments, whether you use newsletters, online forums, any tactics that you use to interact with your readers.
And give specific examples if you can. If you've moderated a discussion online or used social media to spark engagement, share those stories.
Yes. Show them that you're not just talking the talk.
Exactly.
You're walking the walk.
You're doing it.
You're actually building a thriving community around your content.
And you can even use RoleCatcher's AI to analyze the company's social media presence.
Oh, interesting.
To see what they're doing well.
Right.
And to identify, effective engagement strategies they're already using.
So it shows that you've done your homework.
Exactly.
You understand their approach to community building.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of those mid-level questions. Before we jump into senior level, I think it's good to pause for a moment.
Okay.
And think about some career insights.
Yes.
That RoleCatcher provides.
Love it.
Because we're not just preparing for an interview, we're envisioning a career path.
Exactly.
Right.
Long-term vision.
Yeah. So what really stood out to you as we were going through those resources?
One thing that I think is so important is building your brand as a blogger.
Okay.
Because it's not enough to just write well. You need to cultivate a recognizable identity and online presence.
So it's like creating a personal brand.
It is.
That reflects your unique voice and perspective.
Exactly.
But how do you actually do that? How do you build a brand?
It takes time and involves consistency. Being consistent with your content, engaging with your audience authentically.
Right. And
even thinking about your visual identity, the design of your blog, your social media profiles.
Okay.
It all works together.
So it's about creating a cohesive and memorable experience.
Exactly.
For your readers. And as you get, more senior in your career, that brand becomes even more valuable.
Absolutely.
And it can open doors to collaborations, speaking engagements.
Exactly.
All sorts of exciting things.
It's like building a foundation for a really thriving and multifaceted career.
That's awesome.
I think so.
Okay, so we laid a good groundwork for mid-level.
We did.
Ready to tackle the senior level questions.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Bring on the challenge. So senior level blogger interviews, they really dive into the business side of things.
Okay.
So one question you're almost guaranteed to get is, how do you monetize your blog?
Okay, so this is interesting because now it's not just about passion projects anymore. It's about understanding how to generate revenue from your content.
Yeah.
So what are some strategies that you can highlight when you answer this question?
So you can talk about different revenue streams like advertising.
Okay.
Sponsored content, affiliate marketing, even creating and selling your own products or services.
Right.
So you really need to show that you understand these different models.
Okay.
And that you can choose the right approach for your blog and for the company.
Okay, so it's about showing that you have business acumen.
Yes.
And that you can think strategically. About turning your blog into a profitable venture.
Yeah.
What if you haven't personally monetized a blog before?
That's okay. You can still talk about, your understanding of different monetization strategies and how you would approach them.
Okay.
You could mention specific examples of blogs that you admire and, how they've successfully monetized their content.
Okay, so it's about showing that you're knowledgeable.
Yes.
And that you're eager to learn.
Absolutely.
And grow in this area.
Yeah.
I bet RoleCatcher's AI can help here too.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
So the AI can analyze specific job descriptions and suggest relevant monetization strategies to focus on in your answer.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're applying for a role at a company that really relies on affiliate marketing, the AI might suggest highlighting your understanding of that model and how you would leverage it to drive revenue.
It's like having a personalized roadmap.
It is.
For your answers. That's really cool.
I think so.
Okay, so we talked about monetization. Let's talk about differentiation.
Right.
Because another senior level question that can be kind of tricky is, how do you differentiate your blog from others in your niche?
Right, because there's a lot of blogs out there.
Yeah, so in this really crowded online space, what makes you stand out?
So this is where you really need to articulate your unique value proposition.
Okay.
What makes your blog different, special, indispensable even to your target audience?
Right.
Is it your writing style, your depth of knowledge, your unique perspective, your approach to community building?
Okay, so it's about identifying what sets you apart.
Yes.
And communicating that really clearly to the interviewer.
You need to convince them that your blog is a must-read for people in your niche.
And don't just say like, oh, I'm different.
Right.
Like back it up with examples.
Big examples.
Right? Highlight specific things about your blog.
Yes.
That showcase like your unique approach.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a recurring feature. Maybe it's a particular style of visual content that you use. Or even like a unique format for engaging with your audience.
Absolutely.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help here.
Yes.
Because it can analyze competing blogs and identify opportunities to highlight your strengths.
It's like having a competitive analysis tool right in your pocket.
That's awesome.
I know.
Okay, so we talked about monetization. We talked about differentiation. Let's take a break from the interview questions for a second.
Okay.
And circle back to those career insights.
I love these insights.
Yeah, from RoleCatcher. We talked about building your brand earlier.
Yes, we did.
What are some other insights that stood out to you?
One thing that's really important is continuous learning in the blogging world.
Okay.
Because the online landscape is constantly changing.
Right. It never stops.
It never stops.
Right.
So you need to be adaptable and always seeking new knowledge.
So it's not a field where you can just like coast on what you already know.
Nope. You got to keep learning.
Right. You need to be proactive.
Yes.
About staying ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
So that might involve taking online courses, attending industry events, following thought leaders in your niche.
Yes.
Anything to expand your knowledge and stay relevant.
Yeah, and it's not just about learning new technical skills.
Okay.
It's about staying informed about industry trends, exploring new content formats, experimenting with different ways to engage your audience.
So it's a very dynamic field.
It is very dynamic.
And those who are willing to embrace change,
and
continuous learning.
Those are the people who are going to thrive.
They're going to thrive.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just about getting the job.
Right.
It's about committing to a journey of lifelong learning and growth.
Oh, love that.
Within this field.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the senior level questions.
Okay, let's do it.
We talked about monetization differentiation. What are some other challenging questions that might come up?
So one that you might get is, how do you handle negative feedback or criticism on your blog?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Yeah, nobody likes to think about criticism.
Right, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
When you put your work out there for the world to see.
So they're not asking this question because they expect you to be, like, immune to criticism.
Right.
It's about seeing how you respond to it.
Exactly.
So how do you approach this question in a way that shows that you can handle constructive feedback?
So you can emphasize the importance of listening to feedback even when it's negative.
Okay.
Talk about how you strive to respond with empathy and professionalism and how you use those experiences to learn and grow.
So it's about showing that you're open to feedback.
Yes.
Even when it's not what you want to hear.
Right.
And that you can use it to improve.
Exactly.
What about when the feedback is not constructive?
Right.
Like, what about those really harsh comments or like personal attacks?
Yeah, sometimes you get those.
That happen online.
It's okay to acknowledge that not all feedback is valuable or worth engaging with.
Okay.
You can talk about strategies for discerning, which comments deserve a response and which ones are best ignored.
Sometimes the best response is no response.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes silence is golden.
Yeah. It's about setting boundaries.
Yes.
Protecting your mental well-being.
Absolutely.
But even in those situations, you still need to maintain professionalism.
Always.
Right.
So never engage in online arguments or stoop to the level of personal attacks.
Okay.
It's always better to take the high road and respond with grace.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's challenging.
I imagine RoleCatcher's AI could offer some insights here too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like if the company has a history of
yes,
challenging comments on their blog or social media.
The AI can analyze that.
Oh, wow.
And identify potential areas of concern.
Interesting.
So you can be prepared. And you can show that you can handle these situations with grace.
Okay, so we've talked about some pretty tough questions here.
We have.
Let's shift gears again.
Okay.
And talk about skills and knowledge.
Love it.
Because RoleCatcher's Career Guide has a really great breakdown.
Yes, they do.
Of these core elements.
And a great resource for understanding what you need to thrive.
So let's start with writing.
Okay.
What specific writing skills are important for bloggers?
So it's more than just knowing grammar and punctuation.
Right.
You need to be able to write clearly, concisely, and engagingly. And you need to tailor your style for different platforms and audiences.
It's not just about writing well.
Right.
It's about writing well for the online world.
Exactly.
Which is different.
It is different.
You need to understand how people read online.
Yes.
How to craft those headlines. How to use visuals.
Absolutely.
To enhance your writing.
Yes. And how to create content that resonates.
With your target audience.
It's a different skill set than writing for print.
Totally.
Or academic settings.
Okay, what about reading comprehension?
Oh, that's crucial.
Okay.
Because you need to be able to absorb information quickly and accurately from a variety of sources.
Right, because you're constantly reading and researching.
Yes, you are.
To come up with new ideas.
And then you need to synthesize those insights and incorporate them into your own writing.
So it's about being able to process information efficiently.
Yes.
And turn it into valuable content.
Exactly. And it's not just about understanding what you read.
Sure.
It's also about critically evaluating the sources, identifying biases, discerning fact from fiction.
Oh, that's so important today.
It's huge. Oh. Especially with all the misinformation that's out there.
So critical thinking is important.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
No.
You need to be able to analyze information, evaluate different perspectives, and form your own informed opinions.
So you're a discerning consumer of information.
Yes.
But also a thoughtful creator of content.
I like that.
Okay, what about active listening?
Ooh, active listening.
It seems kind of counterintuitive for a writer.
Right.
But I imagine it's still important.
It's so important.
In the blogging world.
Yeah, you need to be receptive and responsive to your audience.
Okay.
You need to understand their needs and interests and engage with them in a meaningful way.
So it's not just about responding to comments or emails.
It's about really understanding what your readers are saying,
right,
what they're looking for, and how you can best serve them.
Through your content.
Through your content.
And that kind of ties into building a strong professional network.
It does.
Right.
Connecting with other bloggers, industry experts, potential collaborators, it can open so many doors and create opportunities that you might not have found otherwise.
It's about building relationships.
Yes.
And learning from people who were already successful.
Absolutely.
And RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you identify key influencers.
It can
your niche.
So it can analyze industry trends and social media networks to identify key players.
Oh, well.
And suggest potential connections.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in networking tool.
Okay, so we talked about skills. What about knowledge?
Okay.
What specific knowledge do you need?
So RoleCatcher breaks down the core knowledge areas into several categories.
Okay.
And of course, native language is essential.
Okay.
You need to have a strong command of grammar, punctuation, and vocabulary.
Right.
But it's more than just knowing the rules. It's about using language effectively,
Right.
to communicate your ideas,
to connect with your audience,
to create compelling narratives. So it's about being a master of your language,
I like that.
wielding it with precision and creativity.
All right. What other knowledge areas?
So sales and marketing are surprisingly crucial for bloggers.
Interesting.
You need to understand how to promote your content, how to build an audience, and potentially even monetize your blog.
So it's about treating your blog as a business.
Exactly.
Even if it starts as a passion project.
Even if it does.
Okay.
Because you need to think strategically about how to reach your target audience.
Okay.
And build a sustainable platform.
And that ties into communications and media as well.
It does.
Right.
So this means understanding how to create and share content across different platforms and mediums.
So it's not just about writing for your blog.
Right.
It's about knowing how to use social media.
Yes.
Email marketing. Maybe even podcasting or video creation.
Absolutely.
To reach your audience.
Expand your reach.
So you're like a multifaceted content creator.
You are.
What about customer and personal service?
Okay, so even though you might not be interacting with customers in a traditional sense,
Right.
you are still providing a service
To your readers.
to your readers.
Right.
So it's about being responsive to their needs, addressing their questions, building a community where they feel valued and heard.
So you need skills like empathy,
Yes.
communication, even conflict resolution sometimes.
Right, because you need to handle those difficult situations with grace.
And maintain that positive,
Yes.
supportive online environment.
Absolutely. So it's about being a good digital citizen
I like that.
and creating a space where people feel welcome and respected.
And of course, computers and electronics.
Of course.
Right, you need to understand the basics.
You don't have to be a tech whiz,
Okay.
but you should be comfortable using blogging software, managing websites, navigating the online world.
Right, it's the foundation
It is the foundation
of your whole career.
Yes,
And RoleCatcher's AI can help here too,
for sure.
right? It can analyze job descriptions and tell you like what specific software you need to know
Yes.
or technical skills that are required for the role.
It can even suggest courses or tutorials to help you fill in any knowledge gaps.
So it's like a personalized tech support.
It is.
That's awesome.
I think so.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of skills and knowledge, but let's take a step back for a second.
All right.
And look at the bigger picture.
I like this.
Because it's not just about acing the interview.
Right.
It's about understanding what it takes to build a fulfilling and sustainable career.
Yes, a long-term vision.
In this field.
Yeah, and RoleCatcher's Career Guide offers some valuable insights.
Into what that journey might look like.
Exactly.
So we talked about continuous learning, building your brand. What other insights stood out to you?
You know, I think personal growth and development is really important.
Okay.
It's not just about acquiring new skills. It's about becoming a better writer, a more effective communicator,
Right.
a more thoughtful and insightful contributor to the online world.
So it's a career path that challenges you to grow.
It does.
Not just professionally,
Yes,
but personally.
absolutely.
And I think that's what makes it appealing to a lot of people.
I think so too.
It's a field that rewards passion, creativity, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Yeah, because it's constantly changing.
It's a very evolving landscape.
It is.
And those who are willing to embrace that change
Yes.
and keep learning,
Those are the people who will thrive.
they will thrive.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah.
From interview prep to career trends to essential skills and knowledge.
Yes.
I feel like I could go out there and rock a blogger interview right now.
I think you could.
So preparation is key.
Yes.
Use resources like RoleCatcher.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to use those AI features. Practice your answers.
Practice, practice, practice.
But most importantly, be yourself.
Yes.
Let your passion shine through.
Absolutely. Let your personality shine.
Okay, so before we go,
Okay.
I have one final thought to ponder.
Ooh, I love these.
So as the lines between different forms of media continue to blur, what do you think the future holds for like the traditional blog format?
Ooh.
Will it adapt and evolve?
Right.
Or will it eventually become obsolete?
That is a great question. And I don't have a crystal ball,
Right.
but I do think that the written word will always have a place
Yeah.
in the world,
Yeah.
even as technology continues to evolve.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
We will.
And see what the future holds.
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us
This has been fun.
for this deep dive into the world of blogging.
Yes.
Until next time.
Keep exploring. Keep learning.
Yeah.
Keep diving deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating question to think about, and it makes you realize just how dynamic this field is. But that's kind of what makes a career as a blogger so interesting, right? It's always evolving, always pushing you to adapt and find new ways to connect with your audience.
Right. It's definitely not a career for people who are afraid of change or, who just want to do the same thing every day.
Exactly. And that actually reminds me of another important takeaway from RoleCatcher's career guide, the whole idea of building your personal brand as a blogger.
Yeah, you're not just creating content, right? You're creating a brand that's all about your unique voice and perspective.
Exactly. And the more you advance in your career, the more important that personal brand becomes. It can lead to all sorts of opportunities like collaborations, speaking engagements, maybe even book deals or other media appearances.
Wow. So it's about building a platform that goes beyond just your blog
Yeah.
and really establishes you as like a thought leader in your niche.
Precisely. And that brings us back to the importance of continuous learning and professional development.
Right. So never stop reading,
Yeah.
researching, experimenting, and connecting with other people in your field.
Yeah.
That's how you stay relevant and keep your content fresh and exciting.
Absolutely. And I think it's also really valuable to seek out mentors or guidance from more experienced bloggers because they can offer amazing insights and help you navigate the challenges that come with building a successful career.
Yeah, it's like having a shortcut to wisdom and avoiding some of those common pitfalls that new bloggers often face.
Exactly. And don't forget about those amazing resources like RoleCatcher that can give you the tools and knowledge to succeed at every step of the way.
Yeah, from interview prep to career guidance to developing your skills, it's honestly an amazing resource for anyone who's serious about a career in blogging.
Well said, and I think that's a perfect way to wrap up this deep dive. We've covered so much today. From those practical tips for interview prep to the bigger picture of building a successful and fulfilling career as a blogger.
It's been such an insightful journey, and I hope everyone listening feels inspired and ready to go after those blogging dreams.
Me too. Remember, this is a field that rewards passion, dedication, and a willingness to keep learning and keep growing.
So keep writing, keep creating, and keep connecting with the world through the power of your words.
And never forget the incredible impact you can have by sharing your unique voice and perspective with the world.
That's a great message to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of blogging. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.